What's up, good people? Good afternoon. So today I'm gonna be talking about learning languages at home by yourself and attending classes for languages. I've spoken to different people, polyglots, language teachers, and some people learners who are attending classes. And also from my experience as a language teacher and my experience as a linguist, because I've got a degree in linguistics. Also my experience as a language learner, because I'm someone who's passionate about learning languages, and I keep on learning these languages until now. I'm learning Spanish and Portuguese, and very soon I might start learning Swahili that I failed learning some years ago, and I might also add Italian language. So learning languages for me is a hobby. It's not something that I'm forced to do, and I have seen the advantages of learning languages by myself, as compared to attending classes where you're given loads of homework, list of words to memorize, pressure, because you know that at the end of the term, at the end of the week, end of the month, you're gonna pass an exam. So I'm going to compare the two different systems. I call them systems, and I'm not gonna say attending school is bad or what. You do whatever you want, but I'm just gonna give my personal opinion. I'm not a professional, though I'm a linguist, but I'm not a professional. So the first thing, when you're attending classes, it takes too much time, because they say maybe learning a language, maybe they say it's like 3 years to finish all the levels. Like where I worked as a language teacher in Algeria, I think the 8 levels from beginner to advanced C, it took like 2 to 3 years. So it takes too much time, because you're attending classes for three times a week, and then after those 3 weeks, you only have maybe 2 hours each lesson, so you have 6 hours. And learning a language doesn't need 6 hours a week. I mean, it's very little, because this is a new language that you are learning, so you need to spend more time with the language. You need to spend a lot of time with the language. I don't know, listening to music, reading, I don't know, whatever you want to do, but you have to make sure that you spend more time with the language. But now if you are learning the language by yourself, you are acquiring the language, because at school they teach the language. If you are doing it by yourself, now you're acquiring the language, as Steve Kaufman and Steve Krashen say. So by yourself, then now the time is shorter, because you are enjoying whatever you are doing. If you are reading a newspaper, you are reading a newspaper because you want to read it. You are interested in what you are reading. It's not like at school where you are given a book to read. Like students here in Namibia, they are doing Shakespeare, so you are forced to read Shakespeare even if you don't like Shakespeare. I try to read Shakespeare. I don't like his style of writing. His English is very difficult, even though I can speak English, and the English that Shakespeare writes, I feel like I don't need it. I don't use that English. So it depends. Some people enjoy Shakespeare, and learning language at school is actually tiring, because after the lessons you've got lots of homework to go do at home. So it's kind of tiring, and then it's like you're being pushed, you're being forced. Things are just shoved into your mouth, into your brain, and you don't want to learn those things, but you have to. But when learning by yourself, you enjoy. Like now, I enjoy learning languages. I love listening to interviews. So I go on YouTube, I watch interviews because I love it. I have fun with it. When I feel like I'm tired, I can just leave and then I go. If I want to listen to Brazilian accent, I listen to that. Mozambican, I listen to Mozambican accent, Angolan accent. For Spanish, different accents, and I enjoy that. So it's enjoyable if you learn by yourself. And the other thing is, when you're learning at school, I feel like it's boring sometimes. It's really boring, because now you're forced, you have a dialogue with your partner. I used to do that when I was teaching English. You have a dialogue with your partner, and I could see that my learners were not passionate. They were not even interested in those things, but they had to do it because that's the school system. You do whatever you're told to do. You don't choose. And the exam system, it gives students too much pressure. Because Stephen Krashen says when you are learning a language, there's a moment of silence where you cannot speak. So all that time you are just absorbing the language, acquiring the language through listening and reading. But at school, as a learner, we are forced to produce the output too early before you have even received enough input. So I feel like at school, we force students to speak too early or to write, and then we give them marks saying you've got 0 out of 10, and which discourages them. So at home you have more motivation because you don't have an exam to pass. If you can say a word, say some phrases, talk to some people, type, write to them on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, you feel like, oh my God, I've done something. So you give yourself more motivation. Okay, so when you're at school now, there are marks, so that thing, I think it discourages students, it demotivates them because there's too much pressure, because you have to finish at the end of the term, you have to finish the syllabus. So the teacher has nothing to do. They have to push until they finish the syllabus. But for me, I feel like learning languages, it's not about the syllabus, it's about you doing it, making sure that you are progressing. People learn a language for 6 years, 5 years, but they cannot speak. I'm really proud of myself because now after 6 months, I'm able to communicate. Okay, and then at school, because of those exams, people are afraid of failure. They are really afraid. But when you're at home, now you're not afraid of failure. You know that I'm doing this thing, and you enjoy it. In class, I used to create this thing called it's kind of artificial environment, to learn a language, where you say, imagine you're talking on the phone with your partner. So what are the phrases that you're going to use? It doesn't work that way. You need a real situation. So it has to be realistic. The situation you're in, it has to be realistic. Talk to people, real people, communicate with them, not in class where you're like imagining. Okay, you will not really learn a lot of things there. There are some people who are not interested in reading, but in class you must read, you must write, even if you don't like it. For me, I rarely write in Spanish or in Portuguese, but in French I do, because I love writing in French. But if I were at school, I would be writing lots of things in Spanish and in Portuguese, even though I don't like it, because you're forced to do that. Okay, and then there's kind of insecurity when you're in the classroom now, because everyone is looking at you. When you make a mistake, you're corrected. This thing of correction, like Stephen Krashen talks about, he says correcting has to be really, really, really minimal. If you correct the person every time, they lose confidence. So you need to be confident actually when you're learning a language. Okay, so yeah, I think these are some of the things, not all of them, the comparison that I can make between learning a language by yourself and in class. For me personally, I feel like learning by myself is better than going to school. I'm not wasting time. I'm not wasting money. The time, I enjoy what I'm doing. I learn with my pace, on my own pace. If I want to do it today, then I do it for 15 minutes, then I go. In class, if it's 3 hours, it's 3 hours. You have to concentrate in those 3 hours because the exam is gonna come and it will suck you. So you need to, I prefer to learn by myself. But some people then now, because there's their online lessons, italki, so you can go on italki and then you get your own teacher, tell them what you want to learn. That's what I do with people that I work with in languages, those that I help to learn. I don't consider myself as a language teacher, but as a coach. So I tell you what to do this, and you tell me that no, now I want to learn this vocabulary, because in class you learn general things. If the exam comes on let's say health, I don't know, anything to do with health, I don't know, medicine and stuff, that vocabulary, you have to know it. But for me, if you ask me some things, I don't know, maybe names of animals, I might not know them in Spanish, because I don't want that vocabulary. I don't want it. Asking me names of trees, for what? Flowers, I don't need that vocabulary. I'm not, in that field. So if you're learning by yourself, you have that independence of choosing whatever you want to learn, because the goal is for you to be able to communicate with people, your target audience, I don't know, the people that you want to talk to, people that you want them to listen to you. So you choose whatever you want to do. Okay, so yeah, that's my opinion actually on learning languages. There are a lot of applications that you can use to learn languages, a lot of them. So you can go download them, go on YouTube, learn a language. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I hope whatever I've said will help you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Polyglot Africano. Also go on Instagram and follow me on Instagram. Okay, so these are the books. You see, I love reading, so I've got a library here where I can just get a book and read. So reading is really good. Thank you so much. Hasta luego.